Hello and good day, and I created this video as a part and as an output for the project in Object-Oriented Programming 2. Nga namang gipili na nga nag-Android app ko. Kay matod pa dadto sa project specifications nga naa sa Google Classroom, naman goy word ko'y nakit-an nga could, and kaduha na ako'y nakit ang choice dadto katong other system nga choice. So mo yung gipili, and this will be my output. So let's start. So my topic is all about data usage monitoring and management. So this will be the duty and the purpose of my Android application. Controlling mobile and Wi-Fi data allocation is always a problem for most users due to background apps consuming some of the allocated data for their auto-update mechanisms, automatic downloading of resources, receiving and sending data in the background, or collecting device information and bug reports. All these activities can be done without the user's will. Some of the apps does not have a disable or kill switch in their settings for those types of background activities. As a result, their precious allocated data will be drained prematurely and can affect their productivity and will be forced to reload their account sooner than expected. Android system have its own data management software, but sometimes these settings are not elaborate. The feature will be hard to access for those users that are not well versed in navigating through the entirety of their device, and the way it will be accessed will vary per version of Android or sometimes their UI. The objectives of my Android application is: number 1, have full control on the application's consumption and internet access permissions. Next is to save money by reducing the chances of reloading your account. And lastly, increase productivity by letting the user to get the most out of the allocated data. Next is the presentation of application wireframe. So basically it would look like a blueprint with simple colors, and it doesn't mean that it will be the actual look and feel of your application. It's just the layout. The first layout is about loading screen. It only shows up in the beginning of the app and composed only of application logo and progress bar. Next is the setup page. So this shows up upon opening the app for the first time, and required details should be filled up. These are the examples of the setup page, and what's currently shown in the screen is only the first page. So these are the sample events. Next slide is the page 2 of the setup page. Next is login page. So this shows up every time you open the app, and password should be entered to continue. The next slide shows all the possible events that can happen in the login page. Next is forgot password page. This shows up if forgot password is pressed from the login page. This shows your password if the question is answered correctly. And this is how the pages would look like with the correct and incorrect answers. Next is main menu. This contains all other options and selections in the app. Main switch for the application effectivity is also in the menu. Main switch, bale, switch sidya kung i-on ba nimo or i-off ang application arong mo-effect ba sidya sa entire device or mo-shutdown ra sidya. So this will be the events with active and inactive state of the switches in the main menu. Next is connection details. So this contains the basic information of your connection, and it is composed of Wi-Fi and data tabs. So what's shown here first is the Wi-Fi tab. It also looks almost the same even on data tab. Next is data usage ranking. This contains the ranking of top data consuming apps from both connections within a month, since ranking sa descending order ang idzahang pagka-display. User and system apps can be viewed by switching the list. What's shown in the next slide is the list with user apps and with system apps. So what's the difference here is the switch. So one side of the switch represents the user apps and the other side represents the system apps. Next is data usage management. This manages and limits the data consumption and connection behavior per application. Each app in the list can have their own consumption limit and switches for both data and Wi-Fi connection. This slide shows what will be the feature would look like. Next is speed test. So this tests the latency, upload and download speed of your internet and a selected server. The tool can only test the current connection the device is using. So this would be the events that can happen in speed test. So it shows the page with no data and the page with collected data. Next feature is ping tool. So this tests wherever a particular host is reachable across the network, and it will be useful if you do not have a computer with you or if your device does not have any command console. This will be the events for the ping tool, the page with no data and the page with collected data. Next, cellular tower map. This scans online map data for the cellular tower locations in your current area. This would be useful if you are searching for the best possible signal quality for your connections. This slide shows how the feature will look like, and as you can see, there's a map and there are numbers around. So these numbers represents how many cellular towers are there in a cluster. Next is sliding menu. This shows additional menu for the user's preferences. This would contain additional updates or features that will be added in this menu. This slide shows the possible events that can happen if you press the button in the upper right corner of the phone screen. Lastly is the exit prompt. This contains the confirmation before exiting the app. This can display over your current window in the app just by pressing the return or back button. This slide shows the sample look and feel of the app. This is the end of the presentation, and thank you very much for staying with me the entire time, and I hope you understand my words or how I elaborated my work. And that's all. Have a nice day.